Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome to the Heart-Based Business Show. I am so excited that you are here today because it is just you and me. And we're going to be talking about self-sabotage and an important question. What's driving you? You're going to learn the secret to becoming an effective leader without burnout, anxiety, and stress. And hello and welcome back. I'm really happy that you're here with me today because it's just you and me. We get to talk about something very, very important. And I'm hoping if you have questions that you will feel free to ask them. I'm manning it all by myself, so I'll do my very best to acknowledge you and let you know the answer if you have a question. So let's dive right in. Today, the nature of human being is to constantly drive to succeed. And think about it. We're challenged by jealousy. That's the underlying emotion that causes us to keep driving ourselves because we believe that others have already achieved what we want to do to succeed. Does that make sense? We believe that others have already achieved what we want to do to succeed. So you're challenged constantly to compete in business with how much money you're making, how much you've accumulated compared to your neighbors. We're challenged to compete in business constantly. And when we don't succeed like someone we believe really knows it and has it all, then we become depressed. Have you ever noticed that? Or we even begin to self-sabotage ourselves because we believe that we can't do it like they have. We're always setting goals. How many emails did you get this year in January saying, have you set your goals? Let me help you set your goals. What are your goals? Where are you going this year? What are your plans? I was barraged with those emails. Were you? Those emails are all about competition. And competition is really hard to deal with because it's all about just doing. And we don't get a chance to simply be and sit quietly and say, what is my big goal for this year? How do I want to help thousands? Not, I have to help thousands and I have to make this money. It's what is it I want to achieve? Here's an example. I have the Authors and Speakers Visibility Playground. And if you haven't joined yet, please do. It's for, obviously, authors and speakers and for those who support them. My goal is to lift that community as a whole. I offer a free mastermind, and ultimately, we are going to go into a referral group. And that referral group will support the community as a whole. It's the big picture, not the little tiny picture of, oh, I need to make money so I can keep up with the Joneses next door. That's not what you should do as a leader. It's important to step back into who you are and listen to the intelligence of the inner being. What can you do to lift society as a whole? If you want to be a leader, an effective leader, because there's a lot of leaders out there that aren't effective. Would you agree? Yeah, I'm not going to name any names, but they're there. And people voted them in. So there we are. But the question is, who do you want to be? Do you want to be a leader like some of those that you see on the news, or do you want to be an effective leader that makes a difference in the world that lifts whole communities so that they can all succeed at the same time. Now you're thinking, yeah, I'd like to do that, but how? I need to make the money. Yes, you do need to make the money. And that comes along with a bigger frame of thought. It comes along with practice. Now, these goals that we set for ourselves, how many do we achieve? Think about the New Year's resolutions, the goals I already mentioned, or what it is that someone else is driving you to achieve. Now, I'm not talking about in a corporation, because when you go into a corporation, you are paid a salary and you are expected to accomplish the goals set by your superiors. That makes perfect sense. But as a business owner, it can't work that way. You are the leader of your industry of expertise, or you are the CEO of your own business if you take it seriously and you really want to move your business forward and make an impact in the world. You are the leader. So self-sabotaging yourself and quitting or constantly feeling as if you need to do more, it doesn't work. Why? Because you get depressed feeling that you don't measure up. It's easier just not to set the goals. And you're probably thinking I'm crazy right now, but it's easier not to set the goals and to step back and listen to your inner intelligence for what it is that you need to accomplish in that week. Did you hear what I said? Step back, listen to your inner intelligence, and decide what you need to accomplish in that week. Then outline the steps you're going to need to accomplish to get there. And don't make it so big that it takes you a year to accomplish it, which will cause depression and it will cause you to sabotage yourself. Now, many business owners use nothing but their intellect. They go and today we just do everything virtually. So they'll go to a class and they'll look and see what somebody else is doing. They decide they have to do what that somebody else is doing and that they're not doing things well enough for their own business. So they jump on that train. Some of us call it a shiny object. I'm trying to tell you, you don't need to jump on that train. I'm not saying don't take the class. I'm saying give yourself some time to step back and see if what is being taught is right for you. And there's another step before that. Has this person reached the goal that you want to achieve? Are they actually doing what it is that you want to do? An example might be when I wrote my book, Selling Through Your Heart. It took me 3 years to find a coach that could support me in moving my book through the process in order to launch it. There were a lot of people out there, but they hadn't written the kind of book I wanted to write. I wanted to write a book for speaking. I wanted to write a book that made an impact when the person got it so that it would be easier for me to get speaking engagements. There's lots of people out there helping others write books, but not for that purpose. And it took me a while to find that person. And then as a result, I took that person's course. It was actually not a course. It was just a step-by-step guidance through what I needed to do to accomplish my goal. And my book went as an international bestseller in the middle of the pandemic in 4 countries. It's also won 4 awards. So obviously that coach was the right coach for me. And it gets me the speaking gigs that I wanted to have it speak to me. I wanted to have the book itself speak to the event planner so that they would seriously consider me for their stage. And it's worked. It worked perfectly. And this person that I hired had done exactly what I wanted to do and was still doing it. So that's the number one thing. Really focus on who it is that you are feeling that jealousy about. Are they doing what you want to accomplish, or are you going to sail off in another direction, start something new, and then try and make that work until the next person steps up and says, this is what you need to do? I've been working with clients for over 20 years. And why did I get started with this thought process and how leaders are triggered? It's because I teach sales, and you can't sell anything if you don't have a program designed specifically for your target market. So that's the business side of things that I teach. And then I teach you how to use video to make an impact in the world. But if you use video and you aren't feeling like what you're saying is really true, it comes across to others. And that happens in your daily life as well. If you're not secure with who you are and how you present yourself and what you present, you cannot be an effective leader. But I digress. Let's go back to why we are triggered by this jealousy that we experience. Well, the reason is because there was a time in your life when you were maybe 5 to 7 and something happened that triggered an emotion in you. It may be, I'm not good enough. It could be, I'll never be able to accomplish anything. It could be, I was taught to be seen and not heard, so what I have to say isn't important. It may be that you feel the need to give everything away or people won't like you. Does any of this ring true with you? These are the emotions that you're trying to deal with. And jealousy is just one of them. What happens is we have an experience as a very young child because we come in clean and pure. We haven't been taught anything. And everything that we know, here's another little thing I want you to think about. Everything that we know has either been taught to us or we experienced it. Would you agree? Like there's a tree outside my window, and I only call it a tree because somebody told me it was a tree. And I only say it has green leaves because somebody told me the leaves are green and that it has a brown trunk or a white trunk, depending on the tree, because somebody told me that those were the colors. Well, what you know is like that too. You have experienced life based on the emotions that were triggered in you as a child. And the first thing I do with all of my clients is give them a free mind management consult. It actually transforms your mind just in that first 55 minutes, because what we do is we find the experience that you had that creates the emotion that sabotages you, the emotion that causes jealousy, the emotion that makes you feel like you're not good enough. Well, if you find that emotion, then you can see easily what your life story has been. Have you ever noticed how things tend to repeat over and over and over again? It's the same story, but with different people, different circumstances. And what happens is that you get through it, and then 10 days later, the same scenario crops up again. Why does this happen? It's because of that emotion when you were a child. You carry this emotion around on your shoulders, and it has feelers that are constantly looking for things to judge. And somebody will say to you very innocently, "Oh, I like your hair longer." What do you say? "Oh, does that mean you don't like my short hair?" Right away, you are feeling like you have to protect yourself. And every time you step in to protecting yourself, you become in a place where you go down a dark hole and repeat the same scenario. Think about this. What in your life have you repeated over and over and over again? Sometimes it's picking the wrong partner. Some people pick as many as 5 partners or 6 partners. Some of them marry them all, thinking that that person is going to be the end all and answer every question, and you're going to have pleasantness and sweetness in your life. But then you find it doesn't happen because you are still carrying this emotion of "I'm not good enough," which makes you become defensive. Emotions are what controls you. Now think about this. I'm going to give you a kind of a funny little example. When you get your smartphone, the first smartphone you ever got, I'm sure you learned to text, because that's the major way that we communicate nowadays. A lot of us don't even talk to each other, and it's so rare to even receive a phone call. That's all we do is text. So you learned how to text when you got your first phone, and you really had to focus on it, make sure that it spelled things right. And now when you speak it in, you gotta check, or people are gonna think you're an idiot because it doesn't transcribe the way you want it to. Well, that's just a tip of the iceberg. What if your phone took control of every message you sent out, and it sent out whatever it wanted to? That would be a disaster, right? That would be an absolute disaster. Well, you used your intellect to learn how to work the phone, and the phone the text messaging decided to run away and do its own thing because it didn't like what you were saying. Well, that's what your mind is doing. That's why your mind wakes you up in the middle of the night. That's why your mind makes you run until you become so burnt out and stressed that you can't hardly function. The reason that I teach and support people with this particular part of their mind is because they can't do sales. They just can't make a sale. And if you can't make a sale, then what happens? You have no business. So I backed up and said, let's find out why they can't make a sale. And once we dug in, we learned that the parents and the grandparents and the sitters and the schools, every time you ask somebody for something, they'd say no. No candy. Don't run across the street. Don't do this. Don't touch the table. Don't move any of the decorations in this house. Don't. And you found out that when you asked for things, you got rejected. And so your mind took control and said, well, if I ask my friends if they want what I have, I won't have any friends anymore. Not true. Or if I offer what I'm selling to my family, and I know this could really, really help them, they'll tell me no, and I'll get rejected, and they'll be all mad at me. Well, that's not true either. That is your mind controlling you, just like if your text messages all went out on their own. I hope this makes sense. The secret is learning how to control your mind. And you might say, Yeah, but if I learn how to control my mind, I don't know how, first of all, I don't know how to do that. And second of all, I get angry so quickly. Just like that, I get angry. And it makes me miserable and I don't want to get angry anymore. Well, that's when they come to me because it's really hard for them to figure out why they get annoyed so easily. And if you're a leader and you get annoyed easily, you're not going to be very effective. You just can't be effective. It's not possible because you make other people angry. You make other people feel as though you can't be trusted or followed. The whole idea and the secret to this whole thing that I'm talking to you about today is learning how to be, how to step back and stop doing and look for guidance. Now, I'm not saying you have to meditate for hours. I'm saying you could just be quiet on a walk. Ask a question of yourself and see what comes up. I spend every morning walking the beach, waiting patiently for what information I am meant to receive. I had to do that before I delivered this to you today. And I'm trying to say to you that if you just have a little bit of grease of the wheel, and I can help you with that, you can move into a new, very powerful way of thinking that creates pleasantness and sweetness in your life and those around you. Let me tell you a quick story. I have a friend, and I was out in the grocery store with her, and this couple, this really sweet couple, had a brand new baby they were carrying in their arms. And they wanted to show it to my friend. And she quickly snapped, "I'm not interested. Charlene, come on, we're leaving." I had no idea why she was like this. And because she was driving me, I had to abide by what she wanted me to do, like so many others of us who do what we're told to do, even when we don't feel good about it. So I got in the car and I said, "What's up? Why didn't you want to look at their baby? I looked back and their face was so sad. What happened?" "I don't want to talk about it," she said. And then my dog was with us in the back seat and I told her to sit down. And again, my friend snapped at me, "I don't want to talk about it." And I said, "I wasn't even asking you. I wasn't talking to you." And from that time, it caused a divide between us for 4 months because I have learned that when people are like this, I don't want them in my energy. I will step away. And I suggest you do the same thing. Just step back and get out of it. It took 4 months. We never talked about it. And I just decided that's just who she is. She doesn't understand what she does to push others away. But it's not up to me to fix her. She didn't come to me for help. So I'm not going to fix her. I certainly could help her and support her if she wanted to be a different person. But she doesn't. She's very short-sighted, and I have to accept her for who she is. And because she's a part of the group that I enjoy being with, I just accept her for who she is. We're not close friends, but we can be in the same room and we can be congenial because it's not about me. It's about her way of thinking. I didn't do it. I had nothing to do with it other than to follow along because I wanted a ride home. But other than that, I didn't get angry or upset. I just accepted it and made a decision about what was best for me. And this is what I ask of you. To be a leader, please find out what emotion is triggering you. And then there's all these other emotions over the years that have been layered on top of it, all based on experiences or the behaviors and reactions of others. The reason we keep making the same mistakes is because we bring our past into our present and make a decision that affects our future. Did you get that? We bring our past experiences into the present and make decisions for our future. That means we're always going to go in a circle, round and round and round with the same problems, consistently falling in the same dark hole with different people and different situations. If you're tired of the circle and you'd like to get on your way with your journey and really become an effective leader, you must do the necessary research and work to make a difference in your life and those who surround you. All anybody wants in their life is to be appreciated, cared for, heard, and treated with kindness. If you can do this, you'll have whole communities that follow you, entire communities that you can lift and support for the better. And you never have to worry about money. If you'd like to have a chat with me, I'm going to put the link down below and just click on it. It's free. What have you got to lose? Let's find out what you have in your childhood that is affecting your present. Because until you learn this, and until you put yourself in a place of humbleness enough to overcome it, you'll keep going in that same circle. I love what my client said the other day. I got a beautiful testimonial that said, Dr. Charlene, you changed my life. If you want to change your life and you really want to become an effective leader, do the work that I shared with you today. You don't have to do it with me. It's up to you. Try and do it on your own, but you cannot do it by reading books. You can't do it by reciting affirmations or reading scriptures. Those are all really super good things, but it doesn't get it out of your system. And if you think about it, you can feel it somewhere in your core. It could be in your throat. It could be down here in your chest. It could be in your core down below. You'll feel a tightness when this emotion takes over and your mind begins to control you. Isn't it time to control your mind and make a difference in your leadership? I hope that you got a lot out of my message today. Again, I'm so grateful that you're here with me and that we had a chance to have this little chat together. I know that this will so make a difference in your life because it's made a difference in hundreds of my clients' lives. And it's all there. You can go on the website and look at the video testimonials for yourself. Check it out. See what you think. And then look back into your past and figure out what you're bringing forward into your present when making decisions for your future. That has to do with the people that surround you, with people who come in and out of your life, and with the quality of your leadership. Please stop sabotaging yourself and start standing on a firm foundation with control of your mind. It's time to start today. So I'll see you next week on Wednesday morning at the same time, and we will we'll be talking to Carrie Heaps. She is fabulous. I can't wait to have her on the show. Have a great week, everybody. I hope you walk away really thinking about what I had to share with you today, because I promise you, If you take these steps, it will make all the difference in the pleasantness and sweetness of your world. Take care. Bye-bye.